Welcome, everybody, back to another episode of Wondering Wednesday. Today, I'm answering the question of what time is sunset in Key West? And I know you're like, Michelle, what? I'm Michelle with FunInKeyWest.com, and I get this question a lot, and I know it's an easy answer. You go on your weather app, you go on your phone, and it tells you what time sunset is. But I thought, you know what? I'm going to just dive into a little bit more nerdy stuff, and let's talk about sunset in Key West, because after all, that's why we all love coming to Key West, is for that sunset and that celebration, right? So, what exactly is sunset? Well, that's when the sun goes down, right? And when is it? Well, the correct answer is, well, that depends. It depends on the day, the time of year, all of that. And the time changes every day because the earth is, we're going to go way back to middle school science. The earth is tilted 23.5 degrees to be exact, and it travels in an elliptical orbit around the sun. And this causes the sunset times to shift gradually, earlier in the winter, later in the summer. In Key West, since it's closer to the equator, that means daylight doesn't change as drastically as it does up north. So if you're up in New York or Minnesota or Alaska, there's a big difference between spring and summer and fall and winter. But in Key West, because it's closer to the equator, it's not as drastic as that. So you'll still notice a difference from sunset times from summer solstice to winter solstice. So thanks to the Gregorian calendar, shout out to Pope Gregory the 13th, we try to keep months aligned with the seasons. So around March 21st and September 21st, you have the equinoxes. And so the days and nights are nearly equal. Those are cool days, right? They're either the shortest day or the longest day, the way I look at it. Summer solstice is June 21st, and that's the longest day of the year. And sunset in Key West is around 8:20-ish. And then the winter solstice, which is the shortest days of the year, is sunset in Key West is around 5:40. So you have the equinoxes, which makes the days and nights about equal. And then you have your solstices, where your longer days and your longest day and your shortest days come into play. I had those mixed up, and I just wanted to clarify that. And here's some fun solar terms that you can talk about as you're watching the sunset there at Mallory Square. Solar noon is when the sun is at its highest in the sky. Go back to those old westerns we used to watch, and that was high noon, right? Well, that's when the sun is at its highest part in the sky, and it's not always noon, thanks to daylight savings time and wherever you are in your time zones, the Pacific time, Eastern time, all of that. In the summer, the solar noon in Key West might be closer to 1:30. So think about this whenever you're planning to go to the beach or you're planning time around the pool. And some of the backyards of your Airbnbs or your bed and breakfast or your hotel, the way some of these are situated, sometimes you can only have direct sunlight during certain times. So if you know you want to have that direct sunlight and you're in the middle of summer, you know that high noon is really around 1:30-ish. So you'll know that. And Key West is one of the last places in the Eastern time zone to see the sunset. Well, of course it is, because it's one of the most southern parts. But it also means it's a great place to plan sunsets. Here's a little bit of sunset trivia for you. Although, if you go onto your weather apps or whatever, or any online app, and it tells you when sunset is, that is actually measured at sea level. But if you're on top of a rooftop bar like at Studios, or you're out on a boat, or you're on the upper deck of a catamaran, think commotion on the ocean, you may see the sun for just a little bit longer because you're above sea level. Atmospheric refraction, I know that's a big word, bends the light, so we often see the sun even after it has technically dipped below the horizon. And so let's now that we've all nerded out over sunsets and what all that occurs, let's talk about some top 3 places to see the sunset. And here's the thing that's going to be interesting about some of these. Depending on the time of year will determine what you actually see. Of course, you're going to head over to Mallory Square. It's the heart of the Key West sunset experience. You get to go there and you come out for sunset celebration. It starts about an hour before and goes for about an hour afterwards. During certain times of the year, though, the sun is setting behind Sunset Key or in front of Sunset Key. You're not seeing it from Mallory Square sometimes. Just be aware of that. It's usually, I think, in the summertime when that happens. But still, that doesn't discount the fact that Mallory Square is a great place to go because you can still see the aftermath, which is all of that cotton candy sky colors. And you can see all of the vendors and experience all of the street performers and all of that over at Mallory Square. And you can sit and listen to some music and see the wonderful views from the water. Another place that you can go check out is Fort Zachary, and that's the Fort Zachary Taylor State Park. And if you buy your admission in, you can go in and out throughout the day. Go in and spend the afternoon there, have a picnic, play in the water, lay on the sand, come back and experience a sunset. You see, sometimes from that perspective, that's where a lot of the sunset sales will turn. And so you can get some really good photos there. And just if you're not into that, just some really good sit on the beach and just take it all in. Another place that I find is a great place, especially in the summertime because the sun has shifted, is Simonton Beach. Grab something cold to drink from Loggerheads, sit on the beach there, and it's just a great place to experience it. A lot of locals go there, and it's just quiet. It's a little less crowded as Mallory Square. Of course, I'm always going to recommend that you do a sunset cruise because it makes a different perspective, and each sunset cruise is different. You can go out on Fury and you have Commotion on the Ocean and you have Danger and you have the Floridays. And I highly encourage you to head over to FunInKeyWest.com. Check out our What to Do sunset sales. We have a bunch of options out there and I want you to check those out. Of course, you can sit yourself down at a Sunset Pier, listen to the music, grab a cocktail, and just grab the perfect unobstructed view of the water and the sunset there. And if you are looking for an upscale, something excitingly different to do, head over to Latitudes. Make sure you get a reservation, but you can experience sunset from Latitudes. They do have a dress code, so be sure to check out that. So we nerded out a little bit over sunset and the tilting of the earth and the equinoxes and the solstices, and the bottom line is sunset in Key West is something you must experience, and I highly encourage you to experience it from all perspectives that you can. Go out on the water, go to a rooftop, go to Sunset Pier, go to Mallory Square, go to Fort Zach, go to Simonton Beach, go to all of those places in between to experience it, and then pick your favorite, and always make sure you go back there every time you go to Key West. Looking for more ideas or want to book one of those sunset cruises, you can head over to FunInKeyWest.com. We have a ton of free information over there, as well as your ability to book directly with some of our trusted partners that we work directly with. Danger, Fury, Floridays, you name it, they're over there. And while you're over there, sign up for our book club. We are having a blast in our book club. You guys, hope you enjoy your Wednesday, and I am Michelle, and you guys have a great day, and thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll check in with you tomorrow.